Tonight to the regular board meeting for the Rockcastle County Board of Education. It's always good to see people from our community here, besides just our staff of our board. And always know that you're welcome here, and we value your opinion, and we love having the support of our parents here. But now I just have to say, these kids that are here, you all are the ones that we really like seeing, okay? It's not these grown-ups, okay? So you are going to be the center of attention tonight, just so that you know, okay? But the first thing on our agenda is a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Let the roll call note that all of our board members are present. Item 1C is the reading of board team commitments. Do I have a volunteer for that?
I can.
Okay, Misty, thank you.
Let me find them.
Brandon's got them, okay.
Board team commitments for Rockcastle County Schools. To improve our effectiveness, the board team for Rockcastle County Schools commit to review processes and experiences to identify and direct improvements, continuously define and work toward long-term goals which serve all students of the district, make each decision based on facts and the best for all students, listen to each other and speak freely, work together, support each other, and not surprise one another, discuss board deliberations to the point of mutually agreeable resolution based on factual information, support the majority's decision projecting board unity towards shared goals for continuously improving district-wide student learning, operate without personal or political agendas, respect one another, agree to disagree respectfully, delegate implementation to superintendent and education team, and to respectfully remind each other of these commitments.
Thank you, Misty. Item 2 is adopt the agenda. Is there anything that anyone would like moved or have any discussion to do so? If not, I need a motion to adopt the agenda as is.
Make a motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor? Item 3 is our school and our community showcase. 3A is Mr. Coffey, Mount Vernon Elementary. Tell us about your school.
Well, good evening. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you, and to have the opportunity to present on Mount Vernon Elementary is something I'm always happy to do, always glad to do. I'm just truly so proud of all of our students and all of our staff as we're well into the 21-22 school year. Just want to say thank you to our school board members, Superintendent Ballinger, and to really all of our central office staff. Thank you all for your continued efforts and commitment to not only Mount Vernon Elementary, but to improving all of Rockcastle County schools. So thank you. With my time tonight, I certainly want to take a chance to showcase some of the wonderful results that our students are displaying, as you can see in our school building. So just talk about a couple of activities at the 4th and 5th grade level. May be a little difficult for you, but if you could turn your attention to the screen there. Our 4th grade students, they have been learning about various literacy elements, one of which is characterization. And so each student was given the option to choose a favorite character from a storybook. They had to answer questions and then summarize the story. And the final product was the character pumpkin. And they turned out absolutely wonderful. Mr. Brandon, you can go ahead. They turned out great. I wish you all could have really seen them. They decorated our hallways there for several weeks. And to be honest with you, I was kind of surprised. I didn't know, I wasn't for sure if they were going to hold up or not. So, but the kids really enjoyed those. Okay, next, here in just a second, Mr. Brandon's going to show you some quick slides. As you can see, we have Native American dioramas from our fifth grade. And our fifth grade students have been exploring the geographical regions of the United States and of those Native American tribes that inhabited those regions. And so our students were able to research these groups using a variety of primary and secondary sources. Ultimately, they were able to create the dioramas to orally present to their classmates, ask questions, and then also take a walking gallery throughout the hallway there and view each other's final product. So just super proud of the work that they have put forward. Moving on, I do have a couple of students that I have invited this evening. The first of which is Mr. Darius Bubalici. And Mr. Darius, very intelligent, fifth grade student. He was actually the MVES winner and also the district winner of the Unite Club poster contest. So congratulations to him. So we do have a certificate for you, Darius. I'm going to show you all. Darius, this is his poster. Darius, is there anything you'd like to say about your poster? Maybe a quick description?
I just want to say that I like football and everyone who's drug-free always wins.
Awesome. Yeah, great.
It's great.
All right, great
Thank
job.
you,
buddy.
good job.
Okay, and last, want to recognize one other young man. Super proud of Mr. AJ Martin. A little bit about AJ. He was recently voted as class president amongst his peers. He has given a speech at the Hunger Walk this year. And AJ was the school winner of the 2021 DAR, Daughters of American Revolution, a great local group. All of our students, fifth grade level, they participated in an essay contest. They were given a prompt and just a wonderful writing activity. Glad to see that. And AJ was chosen as the winner for that, and he's going to share his essay with you all tonight. So,
Hi, my name is AJ Martin. I'm the fifth grade class president, and I am reading The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier by AJ Martin. It's July 22nd, 1914, and my brother Timothy just turned 18. I'm coming, Mom. I hope my brother comes back from whatever he's doing ends. I think to myself, what are you wearing? I ask my brother as I come down the stairs. I see your brother is already. Oh wait. It's the wrong page. Oh, sorry. Sorry. What do you mean, what am I wearing? My brother says. Mom, have you told him yet? Never mind. I have to get packed, my brother says. Mom, have you seen my shoes anywhere? My brother asks my mom. Well, bro, will you hand me my shoes, please? Oh, yeah, sure, I say as I hand my brother his shoes. What exactly are you doing in those clothes? Asks my brother. I'll do it for you, Mom says. Well, your brother got drafted to war, and there's no telling how long your brother will be gone at war. Thanks for telling him, Mom. But my brother says, well, I'm all packed, my brother tells my mom. Bye, I'll try to make it back. Tell Dad I love him when he gets home, he tells me. Okay, I will, I tell my brother. I'm hungry. Can we eat now? As I say that, my dad pulls in. I see your brother already left, my dad says. So did he tell you why he was leaving? My dad asked me. If he didn't, I will. My dad says with a middle frowned face. Oh no, he already told me why he was leaving. He already told me why he was leaving. I told my dad, I completely understand. I say, really not knowing what he's doing. What do you say? Let's eat, My mom and dad say together. What's to eat? My dad says. Whatever you're fixing smells good, my dad says. I know what you're fixing. You're fixing corn on the cob. Correct, that's what I'm fixing, my mom says with a huge smile on her face. Well, let's all eat, my mom says. Thomas, it's about time for bed, my mom says sadly. Good night, honey. Good night, Mom, I say as I try to go to sleep. Wait, Mom, one more question. What do you think Timothy is doing? I question my mother. You know what? Why don't you come sleep with me and your father tonight? My mom says with a frown. That's one of the only times she has a frown on her face in front of me. I say in my head with confusion. My Dad, is it okay if I sleep with you and Mom tonight? Yeah, sure, as long as you don't kick around, my dad says with a serious look. I'm just kidding, my dad says, laughing so hard he can't sit up in his chair. But if you do sleep with us, you have to help us work in the field tomorrow morning, my dad says with relief. Okay, I'll help you in the morning. Wait, can I help all day? I say with excitement. I wouldn't care to. Words just spit out of my mouth with excitement. My mom and dad stared at each other for a minute, and after some thought, they said yes. Yes, 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 yes. I said it so loud my mom had to put her hand over my mouth. Let's get to bed so we can work hard all day tomorrow. I used my dad's deep voice for that one. Now it's November 11th, 1918. I always work in the field with my mom and dad, just like my big brother always did. One day we heard a knock at the door, so my mom went to check it out. We had some we have some really bad news that your family will not believe, said a person from the War Department. My dad runs up to the door to see what's going on. My mom starts falling down as the person from the War Department tells them to step outside for a moment. The person from the War Department came to and told me his name is John. And he also told me that Timothy got shot and never made it out alive. I fall to the ground crying like what just happened. Then he stepped outside to tell my mom and dad the news. I could hear my mom say, My baby boy, not my baby boy. This isn't real, is it? Sadly it is, Miss Adams. Timothy was a great soldier and a great example, John said to my mom and dad at the same time. November 11th, 1921. We got a letter to come to the Arlington National Cemetery for the ceremony of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We know that the soldier could be Timothy or it couldn't be him. Mom, what if the soldier is Timothy? I said really sadly. We'll never know, I guess. Son, right, we will never know if it's him or not, my dad said. We pull up to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We all say it's so beautiful at the same time. As we walk up to the tomb, it gets bigger. When the speech is over, we all leave with despair that everybody had loved ones that died at war.
Well, just I mean, how fitting, considering what the next couple of days is going to bring, and so just wonderful job again. Super proud of AJ and Darius and just all of our kids at Mount Vernon Elementary. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
AJ, I want to say I had the pleasure of getting to listen to you speak at the Hunger Walk and how impressed I was with you at that event, and I'm just equally impressed tonight. And thank you for joining us, and you've got a great talent at public speaking. I want to encourage you to continue that, and that we're just really, really proud of you.
Thank you.
Great job.
When you guys come to our meetings, it makes a little bit of the craziness that we have to sit through for the rest of the meeting. It makes it bearable. So we owe you a big thanks. But you both are very impressive, and one of the things that encourages me when I see you all get up and speak and you do it without fear, it just shows me what a great future we have. It shows me that we're going to have people who are going to stand up and speak up for what they believe in. And wow, you're both very impressive parents. I commend you. You know how impressive. Look what you all are doing. So you have a lot to be proud of. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And Mr. Coffee, you're welcome to come and bring kids every month if you would like. Okay.
We've got some good ones.
You do. You do. Thank you very much. I can say because I have a child that goes to Mount Vernon Elementary, I get to see more of that school than the others. And one of the things that's always impressed me is every time, you know, when I drop my daughter off of a morning, she's always met with people who care for her and are worried, and she's excited to go to school. She, you know, I don't have to pull her in and her fighting and screaming. She wants to go to school. So, and it just so happens that Miss Martin is her teacher this year. So, thank you for taking such good care of my girl. So, well, thank you. The next thing on our list is the Rockcastle County Middle School building presentation by Mr. Phillips.
I know it's all downhill from here.
Yes.
At least I'm not on the bottom, so that way. Thank you all for inviting me back. I know the other day I was prepared for not very long, but 5 to 7 minutes or something like that. And I got 2 and cut me off and didn't even have a warning. It's aggravating, mister. But thank you all. For some of you all who might not know me, I am the principal of Rockcastle County Middle School. I'm Robert Phillips, Robbie as everybody calls me. And thank you for letting me come back and just share. One thing I never even made it to the other day is I'm actually for a new middle school, not a renovation. And, you know, going back to what I started saying the other day, you know, I'll spend more than half my life at this school. I've already spent more than half my life at this school, you know, between 4 years of high school. This is my 24th year there. That's more than half of, you know, my life. It means a lot to me.
I was gonna say just barely.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
you ain't much farther behind me. But, you know, and that building and that school, I mean, it means a great deal to me. You know, it's got a lot of sentimental value, not only, you know, growing up. I've coached there, I've taught there, I've been administrator there. You know, there's not much that I haven't done in the building, from cleaning toilets to helping the custodians to, you know, cleaning up messes after kids have made them. You know, there's not a whole lot that I haven't done there. And, you know, but the excitement of seeing the possibilities of a new middle school for my youngest daughter, who's just behind Carabella, you know, that really gets my blood going. And I flip houses, most of y'all know that. And, you know, I love to see that excitement, but I think we're past that now. And just a few pictures, and I didn't really adjust, anything, but I'll just talk through a little bit of it. These are just some pictures. This one's actually in the art room, and you can see where the trim has came off, and you can start to see there on the bottom where it starts to deteriorate the wall from the foundation. And I know you can't really tell that. That's roughly an inch to an inch and a half that is separating there. And like this one, which I mentioned the other day, this one was actually in my wife's room when she was there at the middle school with us. And at one time, before they filled some of it in, you could actually see daylight outside there. It's not like it went through just a small little layer. It went through the whole cinder block and the outside brick. And when it would flood, you all know how the back slopes down pretty deep. It would actually come in through the back wall. And even when I was in the classroom, it would come in. I don't know how it got through the walls, but it would actually come through the walls in my old classroom as well. And these are just some other pictures that you can just see, and they're getting more and more each year. I can't speak on the statistics and all that stuff. I know I have looked at, you know, all the information Trent has gathered and had experts come in. I'm just letting you know what I see every single day in the building. And, you know, unfortunately, these are so outdated, which I know that's part of the plan, but they're so outdated, it's not even funny. They're actually older than me.
Where's
This was
that
a
at?
crack that has came up within the last year, and
Where's
it's
that at,
getting,
Mr. Phillips?
do up,
Where's the location of that at?
this one,
Mm-hmm.
this one right here is actually in the cafeteria, and that's actually came up within the last couple of years. It's not a new one, and it is getting a little wider each year, so. And they're spread out throughout the building. It's not like I've taken some from out in the cafeteria. That was actually back where the cooks were. Some of them are from the art room. And then for those of you who went through the high school there, the one where my wife was, that was in the English department up in that area. So it's not like they're all from the same place and in the same little area. This one was a new one I just noticed today. That was coming down and I'd never noticed this before. That's the only slide I've actually added. But this one was coming down from the library where the courtyard is, between the library and the courtyard, and I just happened to notice it today, and I'd never noticed that before. So there are things shifting and changing all the time, and it is one of those that, you know, I just think we're beyond just saving it. I just think we need to move on and build a new building. And with a lot of, with a new building, you're going to have growing pains, you're going to have a lot of things. You're going to have, and I apologize, I got a sinus infection, so I'm trying to talk through it. But, you can lay out the building. There's so many ways you can lay out the building to make it more productive than what we have now, to make it more of a middle school concept than what we have now, even though we utilize this space very well. But I just think the possibility of laying things out the way, like in a middle school concept, like I said a few minutes ago.
Would you explain that to those of us that I don't have a clue what a middle school concept is?
Well, you can either have like a junior high concept, which it was basically like a high school. Everybody just not mingling, but everybody just going here and there. And, you would just be like, say, for example, I might teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then sort of like at high school, they teach Algebra 1. Then you might have a different teacher teaching Algebra 2. It'd basically be a mini high school. But I still think, in our area, I still think it's better for the middle school concept, which having those small teams. Like, for example, we have 2 teams 6th grade, 2 teams 7th grade, 2 teams 8th grade. We are trying a little something different this year with 8th grade, just seeing how it would work to transition to the high school. But when they come in 6th grade, they still need that small, nurturing environment. They don't need to be just thrown in. Think about your freshman year, high school. Like, to me, I can still remember that, even though my sister had helped me and tried to, introduce me to the different areas. But it's overwhelming. And I can't imagine being a 6th grader coming in and just be mixed in with, you be passing 7th and 8th graders in the hallway, everybody changing classes at the same time. I don't think the junior high concept is what we need. I still think we need to do the teams, keep those small nurturing classes to where they can get to know their students. And I think that's one thing that we pride ourselves on here in our county, is getting to know our kids, getting to know their needs, getting to know their home life, so that we can work with them and not just them being another number or just a name that we have.
But regardless of what building you are in, whether it be the existing building that you have or a new building, how you choose the concept that you choose to use is left up to you and your staff.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what.
And I think you
Yeah.
mean maybe a new building would have pods per se,
Yeah.
like groups of classrooms for 6th grade, kind of like it is now.
Right.
Is that kind of,
Yeah.
I think would be
Exactly.
concept.
And you just think about, and I'll just use as an example, just say, for example, if we had Mount Vernon Elementary as a building, for example, one hallway all the way down through there might be an 8th grade hallway. And I think about Mount Vernon, for example, because they have restrooms down every hallway. We have 2 sets of restrooms in our whole building, and we have as many kids as they do. That becomes an issue when you're trying to schedule bathroom breaks and those types of things. And, there's lots of things that I think we could use that we don't have now, if that makes sense. And then, you might have 7th grade down another hallway. arts block down one hallway, maybe on the bottom floor, which is our encore. And then you have sixth grade, and they'd all still be in their little pods. And they still have their little teachers that they circulate through. But, you know, I was thinking about the layout could be very beneficial for us. Does that make sense?
It does, yes. I guess, you know, I have a lot of questions about, a new middle school or whatever.
We all do.
And I've not asked a lot because, I think I've voiced this before. I think we need to get money before we start, you know, I don't count my chickens before they hatch, as the old saying goes. So, I guess I'll have more questions for Mr. Trent whenever we really figure out if we get the money or not.
No, I understand
But,
that completely.
One of the things, you know, I can't help but ask, because I know it's a question on everybody's mind, and I missed one of the meetings and wasn't able to ask this. You know, a new project, a new building is a significant smaller building, is what the proposal would be. So you being the administrator, you know, you're the guy that they're gonna go to. Do you think that perception of a smaller space will go over good with the staff and the children? You know, I worry about the staff, but I guess my thing is, you know, when children get to that middle school age, they wanna be in middle school. They don't want to have that small school feel. Does that make sense? So what's your take on that? Do you think that the smaller size will?
I really don't think that will affect a whole lot as far as my teachers. As far as classroom space and stuff like that, I've been in some of the new middle schools, like Cottle, for example. And I think because they're comparable to us.
Is the size of the building comparable? I'm
It
just
would- it-
asking, I don't have a
would be-
clue.
It would be close. I can't give you exact, honestly, I can't
Sure,
give you,
yeah.
but size-wise, they're very similar to us in size. You know, they have roughly 550 to 650, sort of like in the range we are. And our building's 625 is what we would be looking at. And it's all about layout. It's sort of like even in your home.
Sure.
It's all about layout and how you can design that. And that's where I think it would be very beneficial to work with an architect as well, to say, I would like to have this down this hallway. Now, where you're gonna run into a lot of space where you lose is like our gym, for example. That takes up, you think about how many square feet that takes up as compared to what another school would be. You know, that's a lot of that space. Cafeteria is quite a bit larger, and you know, than what it would be probably on another school.
Are you utilizing all of the classrooms? I mean, years ago, we used to call that one hallway the ag hallway. I'm sure you know what I'm referencing to.
Yep.
Are those classrooms
Yep.
through there? They
Yeah,
are?
they are. And you know, I've just sort of, and like I said, I'm not an expert on this. I'm still learning. But you know, when we first met and stuff, KDE says you get this many classrooms for 625 people. You get this many classrooms, and you get so many science classrooms, those types of things. And you know, in my mind, I was already saying, well, I would want this here, you know, just. And I know, like I said, I've flipped houses, you know, that's a small, tiny scale. But you know, you still try to figure out where the pieces go.
Sure, yeah.
And how you can most utilize the space.
And I think a good architect would probably want to tour the current
Right.
building and want to maybe figure out if that's the style-ish. You know, I think there would be a lot to work with.
I just think you can utilize the space a lot better than it is being utilized now. If you think about how big our hallways and stuff are right now, you know, you have to add all that square footage into when you go to a significantly smaller building. The hallways are just not going to be as big either. Does that make sense? You know, a lot of that square footage and stuff like that comes from those types of things.
I guess those pictures you had showed, that's kind of concerning to me. That I'm assuming that's not been something that's happened just this year.
No,
I'm curious as, I mean, and I'm not trying to sound disappointed or nothing like that, but that one, shouldn't that have been fixed? I mean, if you saw
Well,
2 inches.
Yeah, I mean, they're working on them when they're pulling away from, like, part of it's foundation and it's pulling away from that. Well, you have to jack up. I mean, there's a lot of, you're talking millions.
I mean, I know nothing about buildings, so I don't know.
If you went to fix the foundation around the whole thing, I have no idea. I just know I've done it on houses, and it's expensive. I mean, and I don't know how many millions it would actually cost to probably.
Mr.
Okay.
Trent, how do we fix that right now? I mean, until we do something.
It takes about $5.5 million to fix the foundation and the shell of the building.
No, I mean like, there's no daylight. You said something you could see daylight. That's
Well,
not
they,
that.
they have filled it in and stuff like
Okay,
that.
that's what I
No,
was
and that's
concerned.
why you couldn't see it on there. They have come back and filled it in, and they have, fixed it to where it's usable and stuff. Yeah, water's not getting in there no more or anything, cause I made it a point after a while to make sure it was still dry and stuff like that up there.
Are the rooms still freezing for students? I know years
It
ago, I
depends.
froze to death in a few of the
And that
departments.
was that was just another concern that teachers always have. Like, for example, and I'll go back to when we were in high school, say the math department. So y'all know where that's at. You may not, but it's one little area. It's all controlled by one person. And so if that person's hot that day and they turn it down, everybody freezes. If that person's cold that day and they turn it, up, everybody burns up. So it's not like you can regulate each room, There are parts of the building that it freezes, and there's other parts of the building it burns up. There's no consistency, to be honest with you.
It was that way years ago, so I'm sure that got worse.
It's not
over
gotten
the
any
years.
better. It's only worse,
I'm sure
to be
that's a
honest
whole
with you.
lot worse, yeah.
And it is difficult, especially when you got 4 to 5 rooms that are going off one thermostat,
And and I have to say this, and Mr. Trent, I commend your staff. It's
Fabulous.
still, the condition of the school and that 50-year-old it's remarkable. I mean,
people can't believe how good a shape it's in.
Yeah.
We get compliments all the time when people come into sporting events and stuff like that. And, all the time, but they don't see underneath the trim.
Sure.
Where, where unfortunately sometimes it'll come off and then, you just snap little pictures and stuff here and there.
It's got
But
some good concealer.
you what?
It's got some good concealer.
Very good. So,
Mr. Phillips, if I
and
could
our
just-
custodial staff, I mean, they're fabulous. And,
Sure.
his
Yeah.
maintenance staff, I would put them up against anyone. And I'm not saying, so I don't want you to take that as any.
No, I know you didn't. They're
Yeah,
wonderful.
It was it's just like any of the rest of us, as we get older, things just start happening. Our bodies as well as buildings and homes and everything else. It's just part of it. So, but I just wanted to share and just make, like I said, I've got a daughter, I still got one more to go through, and I would love for her to have a new middle school. Honestly, I would like to be able to have a new middle school before I retire. And I just think it'd be awesome to be able to start one. And, it's one of those things that, I got one, let me see, I got one more here. I don't know if you can see this one, at least this one. Can you all see all those spots? This was a teacher that came in after, just after being gone all summer.
Have
That's
we ever
mold.
done an air quality test there?
Well, it's improved since then, cause they've improved it drastically since then.
Polarization.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, since then, since this summer project and stuff, I mean, things have improved drastically with the air quality and stuff like that. So, and I know you're getting ready to come up in just a minute and talk about some different things that's been done this year. But, that was what it was like before, when you'd come, if you were gone all summer, you'd come back to something like that. But now, with the new project and the bipolar ionization, all that stuff, it's gotten drastically better. I mean, that's for sure. And I didn't like the new lights at first, but I like them now. So, because you could tell a difference when they were changing them out, and they were a little bit different, but I do really like them now, and they're perfect, so.
I wanted to ask 2 quick things, not to take a lot of time, but one is, I remember being in there and it just seemed like some of maybe they were built-in rooms and they weren't as safe, like somebody could have knocked the door down, and then, so thinking of that with safety and with, you were talking about like with pods or something like that, do you think that a new structure of having the kids being able to group them differently would help, of having that, because 6th to 8th grade is just a huge difference you know, in size and maturity and those kind of things. Do you feel like a new structure would be better? And my second question that you could just add to is, I would love to know what your staff, what is the teachers and the staff at your school, how do they feel about a new school versus new construction?
Okay. And your first one was getting back to, like, how do I feel about separating them out within
Yeah.
within a new building? Um, I actually like that better. So, like, I'll go back to Mount Vernon. Like, say for example, if you've ever been Mount Vernon, one hallway, they have their own restrooms and everything. So, like, sixth grade, for example, could have their own restrooms. They could have their own little area for them. And I would like to be able to have that with each grade level. I think that would be ideal, instead of trying to schedule it every 10 minutes, someone's gonna have a restroom break, and honestly, that's a nightmare sometimes, to be quite honest with you. And getting to my staff, honestly, almost all of them are young, and they're so excited about having a new staff or a new building and the possibilities of all the updated equipment, desks, I mean, just everything updated and new. They're sort of like me, they're sort of giddy.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the whole staff is looking forward to it. I mean, you got a few people like me that are on their way out, but over half my staff I've actually had in class. And so, you know, I just think that they, like I said, just the information that I've gathered, they're so excited they can't stand it. And
We appreciate you.
Thank
talked a
you.
little bit longer, 2 minutes, I'm sorry.
You're good.
And if y'all ever want to come visit, welcome you, middle school anytime. We are having a Veterans Day program Thursday. We're not having the big Veterans Day thing like we normally would. I still am not comfortable putting 1,200 people in the gym, especially with some of our veterans and their age and stuff like that. I'm still not comfortable with that. But we are having a luncheon for them. We're having a parade and stuff like that. So y'all be welcome to
What
come
time
and
is
visit.
the parade?
The parade starts at 10, and it's going to be coming up through here as well, and around by Mount Vernon Elementary. And then we've invited them back to come and eat lunch with us. And then we have just a few little things. Choir's going to do a song, band's going to do a song, and just a couple little things for them. That way they, you know, still show how special that they are. So.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. We appreciate you. Item 3C is our energy project savings update.
Good evening. Good to be with you tonight. As always, I appreciate the opportunity to stand before you. Very much appreciate the board and the confidence that you've shown in CMTA. Got some really good things to show you tonight. Some really interesting and hopefully some exciting things regarding the energy savings. We finally have gotten to a point, of course, we started construction the third week of July. And kind of finished the lighting, I guess, right as school was starting. So we've got a little bit of time here that we're going to look at from a standpoint of construction savings. So just very briefly tonight, I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but 3 items I want to discuss: the construction period savings, the utility rebates that we have found for the district, and then also just wanted to look at the progress report of Mount Vernon and the work ahead. As engineers, we like graphs. I know that is about, you know, try to pinch yourself, try to keep yourself awake for the next few slides. But I've got some things that excites us. Hopefully it will excite you all as well. But looking at just 2 months worth of utility data, that's basically August and September. This is the building EUI. If you remember that, it's energy usage intensity. At each of the buildings, and as you can see, the left-hand side, the blue is the baseline of our contract, the orange is what we've guaranteed in our contract, and then the actual is the gray. So in every case, I believe with maybe the exception of the central office, we have already met, or we're already meeting that as we have seen through the construction period. So no surprises there. I think that we expected all that, of course, as we move forward. The next thing we have here is the utility savings that we have already gathered during the construction period is $31,087. So very excited about that. Again, that's, you know,
How much time, what's the time frame that
this is August and September. So if you think about it, we only basically had about a week and a half of July, which would turn into August, and then all of August that would turn into September. So very excited about that. And then of course, furthermore, 35% of our guaranteed energy savings we've already done in 2 months. So as we expected, that there were going to be some excess savings, and that's just going to turn right into your general fund, which is going to make her very happy, as well as you all very happy. So as we look at how we got there, this is when we start doing our M&V, measurement and verification, and we would start year one basically in October. So year one will start in October, and then this time next year I'll be coming back and doing a year one M&V report. But this is basically what they're going to look like. We're going to have some graphs that show district-wide. This is KWH tracker on this particular one. I'm sorry for it being so small, the print. But the baseline is on top, and then the guarantee in the middle, and then the actuals on the bottom. That's exactly what we want it to look like, just like that. So in these 2 months, we have had a reduction of 296,733 kWh. So very excited about that. And again, that's not any big surprise for us. Now, how we got here, and one of the major reasons is at the high school. And this shows just specifically the high school. The work that we did there, if you'll remember, we did retro commissioning. We've just been sort of manipulating the controls and some of the sequences and schedules and some of those things to make the pumps run slower and actually turning off in the evenings and the weekends. What we have here, of that 296,000, 179,000 plus of that KWH is actually at the high school. So 60% of the district-wide reduction that we have seen so far is at the high school. And so kudos to Preston. He is my support engineer. He's not here tonight. I'm going to give him kudos again in a minute, but we let him go on his honeymoon this week. So he got married Saturday, and he's gone this week. So anyway, but he has been instrumental in doing a lot of the retro commissioning, looking at that every morning when he comes in, making sure everything is going well. So 60% of that is happening there. So the next thing we want to talk about is the utility rebates, and we've got to tell you that we made a gross error in our pro forma when we made our estimate on the rebates. We estimated that we were going to get $30,000 in rebates. We were really off on that in a very good way, because we actually have $66,862.13 in rebates. And again, that is something that Preston's been working on. It's a 137-page document that had to go to KU. And I think we just wear them down, really. We just send them a lot of information.
Whatever works.
And they say, just stop. We'll give you the money, you know. And but anyway, that's we were glad to be wrong on that. And I think
we were very happy.
Yeah, you're happy that we were wrong too. And of course, that goes into the savings. And again, we won't go into all of that tonight. But you know, the 30,000 of our original estimate was in the first year operation and maintenance savings. So again, we'll talk about that in the first year M&V report. But that's a great thing, and I'm glad that we were able to do that. We even tried to get rebate for the LED project you did at the high school, but unfortunately that had expired, or else we would have been able to. We were scrapping for anything that they would let us scrap for. So the next slide is just basically letting you know how that all worked out. Each building. Miss Jenny said that you all have received most of those at this point. I was glad that it was still a surprise tonight, because that was kind of the most exciting part of my presentation. But anyway, this is how they break down. We can certainly give you some more information. But even at the high school, where we did not do LED, we were able to get a rebate of almost $10,000 based on the work that we had done in the retro commissioning efforts. So we proved to them that we saved those because we slowed a pump down or because we did this, and we were able to ascertain another almost $10,000 of rebates. And we're not done. Actually, we're not even, next year when we do Mount Vernon, we will be able to get more rebates when we do much more efficient HVAC equipment. So it won't be this dramatic, but we will certainly be expecting some additional rebates for that work. Any questions on any of that?
Great news.
All right.
Yes.
My last couple of things I wanted to just talk about. I know Trent mentioned this last time. I wasn't able to come to the board meeting, but I did want to kind of do a little bit of a fall break recap. I mean, this was pretty exciting for us. Again, this excites engineers to take out an old piece of equipment and put in a nice shiny new one. Most people don't see that, so we wanted to show another picture of that. I think it really turned out great. Looks great. It's working really good. So the number one, the fluid cooler change out. The number two was the domestic hot water heater replacement, which is right there sitting next to it. That was also replaced, as well as a backflow preventer was installed during fall break. So that was a very successful week or so, and so we were really happy about that. So moving forward, the work planned, we're actually having a meeting. We're going to be meeting every 2 weeks. Tomorrow morning here, we'll be meeting with the contractors on several different of their subcontractors, but these are some of the things that we're looking at as we move ahead. The structural steel work required for the rooftop ERVs, we're hoping to do that during Christmas break or winter break. Going to be setting the roof curbs on the roof and completing the roof work required during that period of time where the building will be unoccupied. So going to try to use that time also to, number two, construct the duct chases for the outside air. There's two spaces in the second floor that we're going to be cutting a hole in the floor so the ductwork can make it from the top, from the rooftop down to the first floor, and we're going to try to construct those also during the winter break. Wanted to mention number three, the water source heat pumps are supposed to ship in December, somewhere around the early to mid-December. You might say, why are you doing that? Well, it's because they're harder and harder to get. We have company-wide that's really seen the supply chain has really disrupted a lot of that. So that's why we wanted to go ahead and get things shipping as soon as we could. And as we show here, that we're going to store those off-site. We're going to pay for the storage at the Kentucky Microfoodery down the street here. They were kind enough to we went over and looked at it, and it's a very good warehouse space in the back that we're going to be able to lease some space from them and for about 6 months. So that when we're ready for them, we have them. The ERVs, the rooftop units. Actually, originally, I'm not sure if I've even told Trent this. They were supposed to be shipping somewhere around the first part of December. We just got word that they have been delayed until I think it's March the 3rd. So that it certainly doesn't negatively affect the project. It did. We were hoping to get them set during the winter break, but as you see there on number 5, we'll just do that during potentially a spring break time. But we will already have the roof work done, ready for them to go. And so the work that we have planned for winter break, again, we're going to be coordinating with Mr. Coffey. Appreciate him very much. He was at our last meeting and just said whatever you need, and we appreciate that so much. And then hopefully after the first of the year in January, we're going to try to start doing some after hours work so that we don't impact, of course, the classrooms, but doing some return air duct work, transfer grills, and some mechanical room work. So the contractor's on board with that. The more that we do now, the less we're going to stress over next summer, because the summer goes quick, as you very well know. So that is all that I have. Do you have any questions of anything that we've said here? Or, when do I need to come back for the parade on the rebates or? I am glad to hear that the, the air quality at the middle school, glad to hear that the bipolar ionization is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Just glad to hear that.
I looked over at Miss Ballinger whenever you were talking about the savings, and when you see dollars like that, you think, okay, that's a teacher. You know, I know that, I mean, that's the first thing goes through my mind is we can put another teacher with some kids and help them. So, thank you. We hope to see more of those.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to, of course, we're going to be tracking it month to month. And typically we don't, bother you with that information. We'll come back at the first year M&V report and intend to give you, again, some exciting information.
The savings that you referenced, and which that's tremendous. And I cannot but think about the units, the electric units at the middle school. Totally electric building,
Yes.
horrible setup, been inefficient for years on end, and the savings that would be there. I mean,
Yes.
Just unimaginable. And of course, the other night we talked about what the utility cost is at the middle school, which is enormous.
Yeah, I had, just in case you all asked me about some specifics, I brought me some notes, but as far as the EUI at the middle school is, it's really the highest one, 62.3. And we're looking at getting Mount Vernon Elementary School, and I know they're obviously different sized buildings, but we're trying to get it down to about a 30. And with a new construction, 30 is very easy to get to with the middle school, and certainly even a smaller size middle school with the smaller envelope. So, yeah, it would be significant, a very significant decrease in energy usage at the middle school. But again, I've got to say, those units are original units. They're as old as I am. I'll be 50 next month, and so they are incredible. I mean, again, it's a testimony to the maintenance. I said that about the fluid cooler at Mount Vernon. It's amazing that those units are still doing what they're doing. I mean, obviously, you've got some humidity and temperature issues in different spaces, but again, it's incredible of what those units have been able to do. You can't buy rooftop units like that today. Can't do it.
Ron, we appreciate you and your entire staff. You all have been amazing to work with, and I know Trent and Mr. Coffey appreciate the teamwork and the communication, and again, we're just very, very pleased, and thank you to you and everyone at CMTA.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Glad you're happy, and again, we have hopefully more good news to come. Thank you all again.
I think I asked a question when you were here last. How do you know that the stuff's going to be here before fall break? My little girl, I went to pick her up that Thursday before fall break for something, and I guess it was your staff, Trent, maybe you were there. They were there ready to go with it, and I was like, okay. He was hopeful, and it's here, and that's a good thing. So that was great.
It's just really amazing what the supply chain and how everything has been sort of disrupted that way. And again, I'm not saying that we're trying to make excuses for anything, but I think we've tried to make a good plan. And the components are supposed to be here. And again, we're trying to work with our subs to make sure that there's no 11th hour surprises that we can't get something. Obviously, when we're going to be focusing tomorrow morning on the data systems and the fire alarm systems at Mount Vernon. And so again, all those components, we want to make sure that they are here when we need them. And we're going to do everything humanly possible to make sure that happens.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Item 4 on our agenda tonight is our public comment, and we have Mr. James Pointer. We'd like to welcome you here. I've known James for many years, and James is an employee here at Rockcastle County Schools and raised his children here.
Yep. I'm here. I gotta put this under here so you can't see the chins flopping. Lay down. But I will start coughing if I leave it on long. I'm here not because I'm mad, farther from the truth. I love this place. We left Ohio where we were living before, I'm from here, to come back to raise our kids here. Because I knew this to be a place that would be well receiving and the education would be second to none here, in my opinion. And it's not just my opinion. As my children were students here, I was asked to be a part of a group that would study our district and compare it to other districts in our area. And there were 20 other school districts that we compared, and I got to travel to Eastern Kentucky to the middle of that group. And my first day there, they handed us packets, and you guys have never seen me nervous. Angie's seen me nervous before, but you guys haven't. I'm out of my element right now. I'll get over that in a few minutes. But we went over there, and when they were handing out the packets, we would receive a packet that was comprehensive of our district, but an overview of everybody else's. And I was looking through those, and I'm somewhat OCD, and I'm putting my papers and my pen and my notes and everything in a specific order. And as I'm looking at the papers, and there would be graphs, there would be line graphs, there would be pie graphs, any kind of of a learning style that somebody might have. They were trying to do that so they would understand it. And I'm looking at those, and because of my education, I understood each of those. And I started slowing down because it didn't make sense. Because I would look at it, I'm emotional because of my excitement of Rockcastle County, and I'm serious about that. And it didn't make sense. And the lady who was leading that was sitting up in front of us, and she looked at me and smiled. She said, because I looked at her, she said, "Mr. Pointer, I'll explain that stuff in a few minutes because I know you're not going to get it until I do." And when it came to tests, and it came to dropout rates, and all of these other things, we were double digits above all of those other districts. And I was like, it was a good choice to bring my kids here. And I haven't been disappointed in that at all. I have worked for the school system, and I don't even know how long, and it doesn't even really matter to me. I substitute taught. I worked at the academy. I did our homebound students. I've been driving a school bus. I was really looking forward to substituting and driving a school bus, but the year that I became a full-time bus driver was the year that I couldn't sub anymore. And I was very disappointed by that. But I want you to know that I'm not mad. I'm excited, but I'm also concerned because I'm concerned that we will go down a slippery slope that a lot of our society is today. We were a nation that was built off of this huge experiment that's worked out pretty doggone good. And we've got some folks who want to change that up. They want to make it what it has never been or never meant to be. And they're using a lot of tactics to bring that about. I was gone all last week. I had an opportunity. We live in a land where we're afforded opportunities that we work toward, and I was able to go and do something that was a lifelong dream of mine. I spent the week in Las Vegas. I didn't gamble a dime. I worked a lot. I was working from 5 or 6 in the morning until I went to bed at night, and with a 3-hour time difference, that going to bed was not nearly as quick as I wanted to because my brain didn't realize I was 30 hours, 30-hour drive away. So it took me a little while to start getting used to it. But during the week, I spent a lot of time thinking about tonight. I wanted to come here and pour my heart out to you. I've talked to several fellow employees of our school district. I didn't ask any of them to come. I didn't feel that I did. Now I know that I understand how school systems work, that if you want to see something done, you get a bunch of people together that are as noisy and as loud as they can be, and you bring them to a meeting like this, and you start being noisy and loud, and you guys hear them. I didn't feel that that was necessary. I know many of you, I believe that we have a really good group of people sitting on our school board. Some of you I respect and know because of what I know about you. others of you. I think that Angela and Misty are the only two people that I don't know here. You're a person who I have a huge amount of respect for. Angie's a person that I love, a dear friend. And Anna, I've known her actually since she was a kid. Her uncle was one of my best friends on planet Earth. And then Carrie went to school with her husband. I don't know if I did or you not, I don't remember. But, so I know who you folks are. But I want you to know that during this week, I had all these things that I planned out, and I was going to use today to make myself a nice little note that I could read to you, but instead, my mom passed away, and I've been dealing with that stuff. So I was at the county attorney's office twice today, funeral home 3 times, different places having to do with that craziness. And as I was driving the school bus today, I had my clipboard on the steering wheel writing, and was trying to keep, no, I'm just kidding. I did not do that. So, it looks like I did. So I'm gonna try to read what I've said here against my better judgment. I don't like to read what I said, but the first time at school board meeting, haven't really avoided this. I just never felt compelled to come. I'm a bus driver in our county. I have 2 master's degrees, and I had experience teaching in 3 states, including Kentucky. A lot of people wonder why. Well, the easy answer is, the easy nondescript answer is, because I can. I don't have to do this. In fact, the $600 a month I make actually costs me money a lot of times because I have a construction business, and instead of working on a construction site and driving a school bus, and I promise you, I make more per hour doing construction work than I do driving a school bus. I've worked on some of your homes before. But I do it because I love it. I don't get up and go to work. I go get the kids. We hug one another. We fist bump one another. And I know that that's not according to the COVID mandates, but those little kids come on there, and that might be the only hug they get that day or that week. And by cracky, if they want to hug me, they can hug me. I caught COVID and thought I was going to die. Thought I did die once, and I got it from a student. I knew that, and it was okay with me. Most of the time, I don't, well, let's see. I get out of bed in the mornings, and I get up, and I go, and I get my kids. I see them at Walmart, I see them at church, I see them wherever in the world we are at sporting events, and it's always the same. Mom, this is my bus driver, or Dad, that's my bus driver. And it's really cool. Some of my students are here tonight. I don't drive their bus anymore, and that was a very difficult thing for me to leave that route, and I do not take that lightly or say it lightly. But I'm doing a job that I hate even calling a job, that I love. I do it because I can. But I'm also one of those people that if I could be doing anything I want to do, well, I am. I did enjoy teaching. I do miss teaching, I'll be honest with you, but that just didn't pan out. So I'm gonna wipe my nose on my sleeve here so y'all don't hug off. Sorry about that. I'm an emotional person. I get on my own nerves with it. But I do it because I can and because I want to. And it helps me to understand that we are a very fortunate country, and that we live in a place that affords us the opportunity of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. A life that is sought by millions from around the world, from around this globe. And if you don't believe me, go and watch TV tonight, and you'll see thousands upon thousands who are doing everything they can at every cost to come to this country. But this is more than but there is a move in our country I believe, to diminish some of those rights. They don't care about our Constitution. They don't care about our rights. They don't care about the blessed life that I live or that you live. The liberties were fought for by some really cool, some really strong, and really awesome men and women. They were fought by military personnel who gave life and sometime limb. And I'm here because I think that it's not going to hurt me to give up a few minutes to stand up for what I believe in. Angie, you commended the young man for standing up for what he believed in. I do too. And I think that we should all do that. And you know, I'm not even going to worry about the rest of my notes there. I don't think I need to. I see that things are happening around our country, and I'm not the only one. When I was there in Las Vegas, we were in the Central Hall, and I don't expect you know where that is. There were 65,000 people. Normally it's 120,000. But there were 65,000 people coming in there and looking at the wares that we were selling. It's like a huge swap meet, but you're not allowed to sell your stuff at it. You just hope that they'll order it. And I believe in what I was selling, but I also believe in our country. And I teared up because I was standing there talking to a Hispanic man, and this is kind of funny. He said, you speak Spanish? I said, no, sir. I can give you a taco or a chimichanga or a wrap or something, but I can only speak food when it comes to Mexican. And he laughed at me. And while we were talking, I heard off in the corner somebody yell out, let's go Brandon. And that became a chant in that building. I hope y'all know what that stands for, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. And for about 3 or 4 minutes, I was standing there because almost everybody in that building was joined in that chant. Why? Because they believe in our country. They believe in the life that we all are afforded because of the sacrifices of others. They believe in the liberties that have been handed down from us, to us, from our parents and their parents and their parents. And they believe in that pursuit of happiness, one that my life has taken me in. And I have been able to do things that I never thought that I would be able to do when I lived on the side of that hill in northern Rockcastle County over there, where I had to walk down the hill, cross the creek, cross the railroad, walk back up a hill to catch a school bus. That is true. That really is true. And I did it in the snow too, just like our parents did. Finally, a school bus started coming up through there, and Mr. Harley Holland took care of us. Nobody else would drive the bus up that road. But it is a country that I have been allowed to see dreams come true, go places and do things that I have done across this land. I have visited every state in the western half of the United States except for North Dakota and Washington, and I will be going to those if I live. This summer we had planned to visit the Northeast, but we wouldn't be allowed to because we haven't taken the shot. Well, I spent September in a hospital, couldn't have done anything that time. We're laying on a couch. My wife was in the hospital. But those things have happened. Now, here's my concern with you. Every time this starts out, it starts out with an incentive. I don't have a problem with incentivizing people for stuff. As a matter of fact, as a teacher, I had to incentivize my students all the time. As a foster parent, I have to incentivize my foster children all the time to get something done. As a parent, I had to incentivize my own children, and I'm very proud of them to do the things that they have accomplished and done in their life. Tomorrow I get to meet my newest granddaughter, Angie. Excited about that one too. But I want my grandchildren and my children to know the liberties that we have. Incentivizing is important, but it can also be a negative thing, because what follows up usually is some sort of a demand. I've been told, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I was told today that starting in January that people who have not received the jab will have to start testing weekly. Don't know if that's true or not. Is that true? Okay, I was told that was true today. So after that, every time it's been the same thing with every group or every organization or whatever. After a time it is, okay, you have plenty of opportunity. You haven't got your jab, you're out of here. I don't know what the percentage of Rockcastle County school system employees who have not taken the jab, and I'm calling it a jab because really it's not a vaccine, and I can prove that, but using CDC. But my concern is that's what'll happen, that we'll go right down that slippery slope and following after other groups and organizations. In Rockcastle County, I look over there and I see that board. It says Rockcastle County School District, Distinguished District, KPREP 2016. My children did very well in KPREP testing. One of them, I was told, had only missed one question in all the KPREP tests that she took in her tenure in Rockcastle County Schools. And she came home to me after KPREP one time and said, Dad, I got really mad today because the answer for the question wasn't on the test. And I said, are you sure? And she said, I know it wasn't. I'm going to tell you, I believe her. I know that girl really well, and I believe her. But it is a good school district. It is more than a good school district. It's a great school district. We've had some superintendents, I'm going to blow some smoke here, like Mr. Larry Hammond and David Pencil, and now with Carrie, who have led this school district to distinction. I do not want to see us lead it to where it becomes harmful to our county. The districts around us are in the 70s on the people who have not taken the jab. I would imagine we're probably at that or lower, because I've had several people talk to me after they found out that I would be here tonight. Some of them are watching via the internet. I don't know where you're at, hey guys, but several of them told me today I have messages on my phone that they would be watching, and I'm here because I care about them too. This is not about $200 for me. I'll be honest with you, Angie knows me. I would probably give the $200 to somebody who I believe needed it. Honestly, that's what I would do with it. God has blessed us immensely. We're not rich. I don't want you to think that. We're not. But he has blessed us that we have what we need in life. And usually, almost always, something like that goes to somebody else. I carry a $100 bill in my pocket all the time. And I carry that there not to show off. It's nothing to show off these days. But because I may run across somebody who needs it. And I regularly give them away. And I feel blessed to be able to do that. So my concern is that we not follow what everybody else says we ought to do. We didn't get to where we're at distinction by following after everybody else. We were innovative. We took chances. We looked at it, we considered it, and said yay or nay. And I want you to do that for my fellow workers. I can't even take the shot. As a matter of fact, I contacted my doctor 2 weeks ago, and somewhere between his secretary and him, the wires were a little crossed, but he sent a letter to the school system. He faxed it here stating that James Pointer cannot get the vaccination right now because it would be detrimental to his health before the middle of January, because I literally spent most of September thinking I was dying and thought I did once, and that's not a joke. And I can't get it. My wife goes back to the doctor Thursday to find out if she can go back to the school in Lincoln County where she teaches. I don't think she's going to be able to because she still has to have oxygen once in a while. But she agrees with me. And I don't force her to. She's her own person, and she knows that. I would never ask her to do anything against her conscience, but she agrees with me. And she feels the same way about what she will do. I live this blessed life that I have, and I have experienced for 50 something years the freedoms and grown to to love and to grasp them. And in them, I have pursued after happiness, and I found it. And a big part of that is every morning picking up those students and giving them knuckles and giving them a hug and telling them have a good day. And I literally say to them, study hard, let them know how smart you are. They heard that more than once, right, girls? More than once. And seeing them at Walmart and or church and or a sporting event, knowing that I'm going to get to meet their parents, and not all of them like me, and I'm cool with that. I'm not going to make everybody happy, and I know that. But I want to make sure that you guys understand that we, the people of Rockcastle County, are looking to you guys to make sure that others in our county are able to continue to work and able to do the things they need to do with what they have to do it with. Some of our folks, I don't know how they live on the money that they're making. I don't. I couldn't live on what I'm making if that was all I made. I am blessed with the gifts, talents, and abilities that God has given me, that if I were to stop driving a school bus, I would literally make more money. But I don't care about that. I care about those K through 12-year-old students, those pre-K through 12-year-old students, almost 70 of them that get on my bus daily. And I look at them in the mirror and smile and give them a hands up or say, hey, you need to sit down or be quiet. Or this is 44, 52, I need you, or whatever it is that it is. I want all of us to be able to do that. And I know from discussions with others that they're not going to take the jab. By the way, the CDC changed the definition of a vaccine this year. I don't know if you know that or not. It went from being something that was introduced to the body to make them immune to a disease. This is not a disease, it's a virus, and there's never been a vaccination for a virus that worked, and there's not going to be, to something to make you immune to something that may protect you. Literally, they changed it from immunity to may protect you. Why? Because they know. If you don't believe me, ask our bus drivers that were just as sick, if not sicker than I was, and they were fully vaccinated. If you've been vaccinated, it's none of my business, and I won't ask. But what vaccination did you take? Did you take it for COVID-19, or did you take it for the Delta variant? If you get the flu shot, you're aware that you get it for one of the 1,100 strands of flu that are going around our country. The same thing is true with COVID. The Delta 19 and the COVID-19 and the Delta variant literally are different. And you cannot get the Delta variant vaccination. They won't release it. So research it. They won't release it. It's there. So what are you getting a vaccination against? It'll be COVID-19. If you do the research, you'll find that there are almost no people being affected by COVID-19. It's the Delta variant. And by the way, there are 9 more variants in the country right now. That's all I have to say. I'm not mad. I'm here because I care about this county, and I care about the people I work with. And for me, the $200 would be something to help somebody else. For others, the $200 will make a big difference in their life. But I'm like that by those checks that they gave out. I would rather see us use it for the school system. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I just want to say I've known James for many years, and one of the things I've always loved about you, James, is that I know how compassionate you are, and I also know how passionate you are. And I love your family very dearly, and I appreciate you, and I'm glad that you both are better. And yes, but I do appreciate you standing up for and coming and talking to us today. And that's one of the things that I'm not so sure, Carrie served on the board before you became superintendent, and we used to never have anybody come and voice their opinion. I don't know if they were afraid of us. I mean, does this look like a face that you should be afraid of, James? But it means so much to have our employees and our public that care enough about our children that they feel like they need to come and speak up and be that voice that nobody else wants to be. And it's just something that I think is wonderful. And so thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys for the opportunity. And I will say that I'm not the only one, and that there are other people who are going to be, I believe that you guys are at some point going to be discussing going back to the idea before school started with the mask being for the people who want to do that. I do know that there are people in the very near future, if that doesn't happen, who are going to be voicing their opinion and more. And I'm going to be honest with you, I support them. I have talked to a couple of immunologists, and one of them is a friend of mine from Ohio. He's a great doctor there. I met him when my wife had to have a stem cell transplant. And he told me that wearing one of these paper masks is like putting a chain link fence over your window and trying to keep the mosquitoes out, as far as the size of the virus and what these masks do for us. So, and the small children, a friend of mine's little girl's face was completely broke out, looked horrible. She was in pain because of it. So we don't have teachers here who are doing what I've seen on TV from other places, tying them on the kids and stuff like that. That's horrible. But all of that is a part of our freedoms. And if you get COVID-19, if you're fully immunized, you still can give it to other people. And if you're fully immunized, as we've seen right here in our county, you can still get it and you can still transfer it. And the difference is, if you're not immunized, you might be sick enough that you're not going to be out in public transferring it like people who don't know that they have it do. So that's it for me. Thank you guys.
Mr. James, I just want to say thank you as well, and thank you. You know, I can't help but be moved when you talk about how much you care about our kids, and I appreciate that very, very much, because you've heard me say it, and I've said it over and over. Our bus drivers are so valuable, and when our kids get on the bus in the morning, that's the first smile they get, that's the first hug, that's the first good morning in many situations, and we appreciate you and appreciate the work you do in serving our kids, and very much thank you for that.
One last note, if I was a child on your school bus, I would probably want to be the one to throw paper wads at the back of your head.
That has happened.
I'm just giving you a hard time, thanks.
I just want to make a quick comment that I'm not one to be controversial. I'm not here to talk about the political part or the medical part. I do appreciate the history in college. I've got a history class, early 20th century, so everything, and the essay that we heard tonight, like that means something to me. But I do want the staff to know that no matter what side, that we appreciate you. And I do want a vision for us as a board, as a school, as a community, to have unity and not let that division to come. So in saying all that, I would say, James, that, you know, what you've spoken tonight, I've not heard that from any other staff member. And I did in my speech class, I actually did a whole project on a gap of communication between a school board and a community. And I don't know why there's a gap, but we are here for our district. We are the voice for our people. And if the community and if the staff members are not getting to us in voice, like we all have email, but if you're not voicing, what are we to know to stand for? How are we to know to vote on a decision if we don't hear that? So,
as a person who lives in the gap, may I answer that?
Yes.
Most of the people, either in the community or between that gap, who live between that gap, us, feel like that you guys are separate from us, and that you probably don't understand. Besides Carrie, I'm sorry, how many of you are teachers? And Mr. Hammond, how many of you were teachers or are teachers? They feel like, now, I understand you're elected, first of all, I get that. They feel like you don't understand what it's like, us, some of our people feel like you don't understand. And sometimes that even maybe you're the enemy, and I think that the media really helps with that today because of what you watch on the news. I don't think of that you guys that way at all, not at all. There may be some people in our county who do, in fact, I'm pretty sure there are, but the best thing that you guys can do, and I know most of y'all probably work and everything, is to let the staff see you and talk to them and get to know them and say, I'm a school board member. That is probably, when I taught in Madison County, I couldn't tell you who in the world was on the school board over there. I had no idea. I cared, but I didn't know. So if you guys could do that, some of those meetings, get to know meetings, if you were to come to the meetings in August and say to the bus drivers, you guys, I've heard a lot about you guys, and anybody here can tell you this. We have some great bus drivers. People who are on their way home and somebody has a problem. Hey, I'll come and get the kids, take them home while they bring another bus to you. That is not uncommon in our school district. Somebody, man, I got a doctor's appointment. Is there any way that somebody can haul my kids from Broadhead to the high school or Broadhead to the middle school? Hey, slide them over here on my bus. I don't have anything to do today. I'll haul them up there. I've done it myself. Why? Because we care. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Some of the people are driving buses for the money, not very many, but most of them for the insurance because it's the only place they can get good insurance. But they also do it because they love the kids. They really do. Our teachers, most of our teachers do it because they love the kids. I have been in districts and I've talked to teachers who said, they keep this up, I want to go work in a factory. My answer to that, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, son. Get right on out of here because you don't need to be teaching in the first place. So get to know the teachers, get to know the bus drivers, go to those meetings with the staff. Let the janitors know who you are. Let everybody know. I'm just telling you as a person in the middle. As a parent, the only thing that people are going to look to you guys for is when they get mad and say, are they doing that thing over there? Probably most of the time, that's the only time you're going to hear for parents. And you can't meet them all. You might meet the some where you represent in the county, but that's about it. So I hope that's any help.
And we may not be, none of us here, or may not be teachers, but we are all parents.
Right.
And we're all parents with children in the school systems. And we're here for the love of the kids.
Right.
So I do hope that our community recognizes that.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, Anna, most of them probably don't.
Yeah, that's, if I didn't care about our kids in the district,
I believe you.
yeah.
I know you well enough.
That's my love.
Yeah. But I'm just being real with you.
Yeah.
I'm just being real with you.
It's the only way you know how to be, ain't it, James?
It is. Sometimes it gets under people's skin, but.
Thank you, James.
I'll say something, James.
I would like to take my child back to take the rest, but as a parent, if I can have a few minutes to, can I?
Yes.
I would like to tell you a little bit. I was born in USSR, Soviet Union. My parents were born there. My grandparents were born there. It was a country of mandates, like no free choice. They mandated everything. And currently I'm active duty military with two combat deployments, and that's why was driving me was fighting for freedom of this country. And I don't question the efficiency of the vaccine. It may be good, it may be bad, we don't know, and I don't know if anybody knows at this point. The time would show. But what I'm for free choice, for the freedom of all people. And I choose Rockcastle as my future. Well, we bought a farm here for my family. I have 3 kids, and they're still here, and I sacrifice a lot for this country. I have a year-old daughter that I've been with her just for a few months because I was in Middle East and everywhere else. And what I want to say is, like, keep America free. Give people free choice. Like, because the first day when in the army, I am vaccinated, but I feel the most violated because they told me you get vaccinated or you get dishonorable discharge. That's basically like like a felony. You cannot do nothing after that, like get a good job or something. So the morality of the army right now is at the lowest point, probably because not just me, but like probably almost half of the soldiers are feeling like that. Like they took the choice for us, the freedom that we're fighting for. So I'm just like asking for you, if you have the right to choose, just choose for the freedom. Yes, it may be efficient vaccine. We don't know. Don't take the choice away from people. The day that the vaccine will be mandated in this school or in this district will be the last day that my kids will be in school. I'll take them out. I like this place. I like this county, but keep it free. Don't turn it in Soviet Union. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Um,
And thank you for your service to our
Yes,
country very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Say
Thank
something
you.
to James, and of course, I agree with you on freedom. James, I appreciate you coming, of course, I have a lot of respect for you as well. What you've said about driving the bus, no, I think that the vast majority still driving the bus today would probably be after insurance. And they love kids really because you wouldn't sit down in front of a bunch of kids, your back turned to them if you didn't sort of trust them and appreciate them. And your story of getting COVID, I can relate to that. I mean, I can see that. I can see that happening. And what you said, I think you'll stand for what you believe. And the freedom that, of course, I had the vaccine. I had COVID after the vaccine. Now, I didn't have much of a story with COVID. I had a few aches on a Wednesday. I thought, well, I get tested. I was positive, and so the next day I had a few aches. Friday I had this infusion. That Friday I felt pretty good anyway. If it hadn't been for COVID, I would have gone to work. I felt way worse. But that's the end of the story. But I didn't have any more story to tell. But as far as the requirement for myself, of course, if I'm on the board, because I appreciate Rockcastle County Schools, and that's the only reason I'm here, because it's been a real chore to be on the board. Monetarily, I've spent money to be on the board. It's not like it's a money maker. And I'm here for a purpose. And of course, I want Rockcastle County to continue to be a good place to live and a good school district. And I'm not for mandating that anyone do much of anything. I think if I had the vaccine, get the vaccine, don't take the vaccine. Whatever you do, hope it works for you. And I don't mean that sarcastically, I do. I've got some folks in my close circle that have not had the vaccine. Hope it works for them. And if they choose to get one, hope they don't grow another horn. Or I've joked with some folks about, the thing I've noticed since I got that vaccine is when I get my gas at gas station, I don't even have to swipe my card. Well, it's not showing up that way yet. It's all about freedom to me. And then I want to say something about people coming and employees. I really appreciate you coming and making your comments because, as a person that's worked in schools and here in this role today, over the years, there's been the same as no participation in board meetings here for years on end. And of course, I could go back and give a history lesson on Rockcastle County Schools long prior to me, how that worked. But we started attempting to do something with that by putting the agenda or part of the agenda in the paper years ago. No one came. Only ones come. We could lure some parents in if we have a recognition of their kids, and which that's good. And of course, we bring some in that way. But typically, what you see would be someone that comes in because they're mad about something. And years ago, they come in the beginning of the year, most likely to see somebody like Mr. Hopkins fuss about a bus route. Other than that, in the very beginning, no more folks. And the reason that employees don't come, quite simply, is because it's like kids in the classroom. You've all been a student in the classroom. Don't ever forget, or you've heard parents say, well, I don't want to say anything. I don't want Miss Mattingly as an English teacher to take it out on my kid. And And that's the case. When you complain, you'll get chopped off. And that's really my view for employees. Employees don't come to board meetings if they have something to say because they're apprehensive that they will be retaliated against. And it's not just in Rockcastle County, it's elsewhere. Actually, I've had some employees talk to me. Of course, I've never mentioned the employees, and they've said that since I've been on the board here. And don't deceive yourself, and don't try to fool anyone else that it's anything other than that, because that is the case. It's the case in 2021. It was the case in 2011. So I think we need to do the very best we can to represent the people and make good decisions for Rockcastle County Schools. But personally, and I would encourage each member of the board to do that, you're representing the people, but if you have any the values that you have, I think you need to represent the values that you stand for.
Right.
And and you can amen this, because I had no hesitation in voting and saying what I had to say since I've been here, because I believed what I said, and I wouldn't back up on the vote that I said no to, or anything that I've said since I've been here. And for this meeting, the next meeting, it will be the same. And I would encourage people, though, to come to board meetings, not just when their children are here, but come and voice their concern, because squeaky wheel gets grease. If people don't like what they have going on, they can sit back in the corner and they'll keep getting the same. And if we had a big crowd here on whatever topic it was, it would change. It would change. I mean, that's just the way this works, and you all know that. But James, I appreciate you coming for a variety of reasons.
I appreciate the privilege and knowing that I have the freedom to do that, and I mean it that way.
James, I would like to share one little quick thing, and then we need to move on for time's sake. As far as the vaccine incentive that we voted on, I can't speak for the others. I can just speak for myself, okay? At the time that we voted, I really don't care to tell the general public that I had not had my vaccine. I voted to approve the incentive because we were given the opportunity. It was at the state level. The state was going to give the incentive, and we were given the opportunity to do a match as a way of supporting those in our district that had taken that choice. Because as someone that has taken the vaccine, there's so many uncertainties. And because I felt optimistic in doing that, because I felt like these people were being sort of on the front lines, if you were to say, maybe in history, and this was a way that we could support them. Well, since then, I would like to add this. I had COVID last year in December, and I was very sick. And I didn't choose to get the vaccine because I was like, well, I've got the antibodies, I'm good to go. I'm just not going to. And I was kind of scared, just to be quite honest. And my husband's health kept declining. And I used the excuse that it was because of his health is why I made the decision to get the vaccine. But the more I think about it, that's not entirely true. My daughter got COVID back in August, and what she had was not what I had. She was very, very sick, and I was terrified. And by watching her be so sick at her young age, that was completely healthy, it made me realize I'm going to do everything I can for my own personal choice to try to protect myself from getting that ill. Now, with that being said, just like Mr. Hammond said, it's to each their own. It's a decision you have to make. It's a lot like your faith. We all have that option for our own faith. But I do want our staff to know that we did not vote for that to try to punish anyone that did not go. We voted for that to encourage those that are on the fence trying to make a decision. Maybe it might help them make a decision, but that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was, in my mind, was for those that had, to let them know that, thank you. Thank you for being willing to make that choice to take a chance and, in stopping all the craziness that's in the world. So that's all I had to say about that, but
In
I guess we can
discussions,
move
I
on.
can tell you that a lot of people think that it is what you said it isn't. That it's, they're being punished for not taking it. I can tell you that everybody I talk to believes that.
Yes, and
And
that
I
was
didn't go out-
nothing,
I
that
didn't
was
go
nothing
out-
that went through any of our minds, I'm
I didn't go
confident.
out soliciting people on this. I knew what I was gonna do, but a couple of people, when I asked how to do it, I didn't know how to come up here and do this. I didn't know I had to call, even who I talked to, I talked to Carrie, talked to Jenny once too, and I had no idea. But a bunch of people know about it, cause I got a bunch of contacts about it. And every single one of them said, you know what, I don't care what they think, I'm not doing it, and I don't care what they do to me. And they honestly think that it is punitive. They honestly do. I didn't know, and it didn't matter to me. Because I knew what I needed to do. And what I also need to do is I got a wife with 3 teenage foster boys at home, and
You
things
gotta get home.
didn't go the way they should while we were gone, so we're kind of still
Well,
struggling.
thank you again, we appreciate you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
guys.
James.
Thank you.
Item 5 on our agenda is our operations and actions. See anyone have any questions for Ms. Carey about any of those?
Curiosity question.
Huh?
Curiosity question.
Okay.
A lot of folks coming from Fayette down south?
Not
Okay.
at all, no, that was just sent, and myself, Mr. Ruppert, and I've had that discussion, I'm not exactly sure why Fayette County sent that to
Okay.
us with the Open Borders Act, but they sent it, and we thought, well, we'll go ahead and get it approved and send it back to them, and we'll have it on, in case we need it, but no,
And we do, Mr. Hammond, occasionally have students that go up there to facilities,
yeah,
Right,
to,
yeah.
and so that's the reason we have that contract.
but at this
And
point, we don't
historic.
have anyone coming from Fayette to us.
Okay. And which that's
That's a
okay
shame.
if they were, I just
Yeah.
was curious.
That's a shame. We're much better school district. Okay, need a motion to accept for operations and action?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Item 6A, review and approve the monthly financial reports.
Okay. You have your financial reports for month ending of October. Are there any questions about those reports that were presented to you?
I did have one, Miss Jenny, let me see
Yes,
if I can find it real fast. I was just curious, and it may be something that I need. Fifth Third Bank.
Oh, back on our bills for payments? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was just curious, what do we pay Fifth Third Bank? I'm sure it's been on there every month, and it just wasn't something I noticed.
We have one district credit card, and Fifth Third Bank is utilized, is the provider for that card. So in instances, for example, we had a bus to go out of district recently, and they needed to purchase gas.
Sure.
There will be the occasional vendor that might, more and more, we're having some vendors that we might need to purchase a particular part that might not take purchase orders, that we've had to utilize that credit card.
So
yeah.
it was a credit, I wasn't
Yeah.
for sure.
And usually that's a pretty low amount that you'll see.
Yeah.
on
I think
there.
that maybe that was what triggered, it was just, there was a lot of line items for it,
Mhm.
more so than maybe what I had noticed in the past, but.
So it will list, when you see those, it will list each individual purchase that was utilized. It will list each of those.
All right, thank you so much, that's the only.
No problem.
Anyone have any questions for the financial report that Ms. Jenny has included?
I don't have a question on the report. My questions or comments would be relative to finance. You wanna talk about now, or you wanna wait till the board comment?
Can we wait till board comments?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. With that, can we have a motion to approve the financial reports?
Make a motion.
I need a second. All in favor? Okay. Item 6B, review and approve the salary schedule amendment for Roundstone Elementary Family Resource Coordinator position.
We have had a retirement in that position at Roundstone, and that position is a 202-day position versus a 240-day position, which is what the other Family Resource Center directors are. And that is in compliance with the grant that we have for Roundstone Elementary. When we were not anticipating needing to have this on the salary schedule, but we already have a line item on the current schedule that shows the new hires for the 240-day position. We would like to add this as a new hire for the 202-day position, and that matches the daily rate. So each of those positions, 202 or 240, are making the same amount of money per day. It's just this position is grant funded for less days.
And that's in order to stay within.
Within the parameters of the grant,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So there's no new position, no changes, it's just to put that on as a new hire to match the 240.
Any other questions? Not a motion to approve the salary amendment? Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, item 7, review the superintendent's personnel action report.
I'll give you all just a moment to look over that to see if you have any questions.
Item 8 is our department reports. I see Mr. Marcus and Mr. Ken's both in there earlier. Thank you all.
Anyone have any questions about those?
Does anyone else have anything?
They're all in your
I
job.
didn't see them all.
They're all in there.
I just saw Marcus's and Ken's.
They're all uploaded.
There we go. I'll read them later.
Okay.
All right. Item 9 is our superintendent communication.
Just wanted to let you all know that as part of my professional growth plan that I had discussed with you of creating a superintendent advisory council. So we had our first meeting this afternoon. Each school elected a representative to serve on that. So they were teachers representing each school. So we had a great meeting this afternoon. It was supposed to be from 3:30 to 4:30. It lasted almost till 5. Had some great discussions and really received some really nice input on some instructional programs that we're programming and some instructional things that we're doing in the schools. So looking forward to continuing to work with that group. Miss Erin Grace, who is here tonight, was a part of that, and I think it was very beneficial for all parties. So I look forward to continuing that.
And what about the children?
So we have made plans to use our middle school and high school students beginning in January.
Okay.
Yep. So
I'm anxious to see.
me too. And I would like, I've had thoughts in my mind that I would really like to have them come to be part of our meeting at some point and to share out the work that we're doing, but that will begin in January.
You know we'll want that. Yeah. Only part we like.
Yeah. So.
Thank you, Miss Carrie. We have board comments. I'm gonna start on Anna's end, Larry, since we know you've got a comment, okay? Miss Anna?
It's great.
I don't have anything to add.
Okay, Miss Misty?
I'll say after Larry talks. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really have anything, just to appreciate everybody again. I know that we've got a new year coming up and new board members. I think it would be nice to revisit, whether it be board team commitments or vision. I know Angie once had mentioned having recognizing a teacher or, but maybe just do some vision casting or something like that sooner than later. Maybe we could even have like a meet and greet before a meeting where, because it's just impossible for us to go around and meet everybody, but cafeteria workers from one school or just something to try to bridge that gap, to let everyone know that, we are here for them as well. But that is all.
Mr. Yuchi?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Hammond?
Well, mine, well, part of the comments, questions, I suppose. The question would be, as we look at ESSER, and of course, ARP ESSER, we got about $8 million. And out of the ARP ESSER, we get to maintain 16.8% or something in direct costs, which is about 1.4 million or somewhere thereabouts. Is that correct? That's the way I calculate it.
If we were to take indirect on the full amount, and I do not know that that our plans, it would depend on how those funds would be utilized, because there may be some costs that would not be eligible for to apply indirect to that cost. So we will only be able to apply indirect to eligible costs, I guess I should say.
Got you. I mean, that's not the way to put it. I understand. And with that, you know, 1.4, 1.2, 1 point, whatever it is, that's significant in the budget. And my question then with that would be thoughts toward what we're going to use it for. Any thoughts toward, you know, we talked about, and because then this goes into something else. A staff person here had shared, they've been here for several years, and I guess it's their KTRS sheet. They were talking about that they had lost ground over like the last, you know, 10 years. So I just looked and I Googled, you know, Google knows everything. So I Googled to see what was the inflation rate? What's the inflation rate since 2012? And it was like 19.8, just well say 20%. And that person's salary, teacher, I mean, this was a straight teacher, they had gained 10 cents. They lost 10. And as a classroom teacher, because teachers are what they're the front line. You know, I appreciate bus drivers, I appreciate principals and all administrators, the superintendent and the Board of Education. But it's really about those folks that are right there with those kids in the classroom. And for classroom teachers to lose, and it's not just cheer, I mean, but we're talking about right here. I mean, this is a grand place. We've talked about it before, and it is a good place. Good place to live, good place to work. It's a good place to have your kids in school. But if teachers have lost buying power, and over the years, teachers are pretty good managers. They know how to put a roof over their head. They don't, you know, they don't typically go belly up, don't go bankrupt. But they have to be managers when you've lost that in the last 10 years. And then as we look at where we are today, and that's the reason I was talking about the ESSER, looking at the salaries. Of course, we looked at the salary last year, the salary increase. But with the current inflation rate and grocery prices and gasoline over $1 a gallon more than it was a year ago, that's just a grave concern to me. And I wanted to bring it up to the group. Because if you lost 10, you know, you lost 10 cents over the last 10 years. That was a piece at a time. That's horrible. And we've got teachers. We may have husband and wife. We may have one that's the teacher, and that may be the only one working. But to think that you're getting by on that much less than you were 10 years ago, unless you've got something else going on. And of course, that's where a lot of educators have a side job, whether it be flipping a house or doing some, you know, in the past they farmed or they did whatever. But that's sad. And with the marketplace today, we know what we've encountered this year in trying to attract quality candidates. I think that really needs to be looked at to the extent possible to do the best we can to raise the salaries of the teachers, and even with that, I don't know that we can keep up. But I know that's horrible. That is horrible.
I get the Commonwealth and not having a raise over 10 years. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there. But we also did try to step up and give our employees the 3%. And I know from the years past that doesn't even, but I think that we've made a great stride to improve from where we were. But I also think some of that falls on the legislator side on what they will approve to give our teachers that deserve it. Not just here locally, I think.
That's true. And of course, you know, if you will reflect years gone by, when the state mandates salary increase, they never give enough. You know, I mean, if the legislature mandates a salary increase, you know, it's still an added expense to the district. So I get that, and I'm all for that. But at the same time, I think it'd take a heck of a lot more than that. I think that the district will have to be
I think it
totally,
has to come from both sides.
totally efficient with
And I
the
think
funds.
we've started,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then, of course, even looking into the spring, as you look at, as the district looks at staffing, I just think that the classroom teacher cannot afford to live like that.
So I know my own personal self, I have a graduated salary increase that they project for me.
Mhm.
Is that something that's ever been done here, budgetary wise, like you graduate the salaries over time and you can kind of plan accordingly?
So we do have a stepping,
I mean, I guess for inclusive all, like we did.
and that would be a little more difficult for school districts because, it's all dependent on enrollment and, revenues, both state, local, federal, there are many factors. So, not having that constant might make that a little bit more difficult to project, but that is something we could begin to look at and evaluate. And I do agree with you, Mr. Hammond, that, we do have to continue to look at the salaries of all staff. A 3% raise for a certified individual, equates to a little bit more dollars than it does our classified staff. And I think that is an area that we completely need to evaluate and maybe restructure. Per hour wages, in our public sector has changed dramatically in a year, more than we could have anticipated. And, our classified staff need that same attention as our certified staff, because we can't transport our kids or feed our kids without them, and they are so valuable. Rockcastle County Schools, had the opportunity to do 3%, and hopefully we can continue to plan, for next year. And, in looking at the average teacher salary across the state, we're not at the bottom, we're not at the top, but we need to continue to move toward that middle as best we can for our rural community. And, I'm completely agree with you that that's work that the board sets the salary schedule, and that's something that, we'll continue to work on.
And one more quick question. The
I
ESSER,
want to come back to what you said
Okay.
too, that question you just made.
good. The ESSER funds, can you allocate so much, or is there only so much you can do towards employees or salary?
Yes.
Okay, that was just a clarification.
The only
I had.
thing about the ESSER funds, and Ms. Cheney can correct me if I'm wrong, my idea is this is a one-time lick, and we're gonna have a new president in a few years, and new governor in a few years, and I've been on this board 20 years, and this is the first time in 20 years that we have ever received money like we have in the last year. So my thought process is, and I want everybody to have raises and get the money that they are more than deserving of, but we have to think upon, if we give these raises out, 2 years down the road, we ain't gonna have no ESSER funds to maintain those raises. And that's a concern that I would have.
Those are conversations that honestly we have not even started having at the district level as of yet, because our priority is absolutely addressing learning loss for our students. And that is the work that the instructional team is working on currently, and, Ms. Ballinger is leading that, and, that's our priority at this time. So, to say that there's a plan beyond that, that learning loss is our highest priority for this school year.
And I understand that, of course, the board members need to remember that ESSER's going to be expended by 2023, one way or the other. And of course, we have, again, I think about the middle school, is there some way you can spend it and get some return back? But if you spend it all on people, and it's not, Angie, it's not been a salary increase. And that's not even, I'm gonna clarify that. These are people. The things that I'm aware of here, we have gotten additional staff to address learning loss. Right. Those are people that will have to be either brought into the fold, made adjustments for, and if the number of people increase while our student population is decreasing, no, you may have to do a salary reduction, and I'm being sarcastic. I mean, that's, you
I
can't go there.
understand what you're saying by that.
But then with this, forget, if Esther, my point is, have we never had COVID? If COVID had never happened and we were going along and we'd floated along for the last 3 years without COVID, we need to do, Rockcastle County School District needs to do something to consider. And when I say teachers, teachers are on the front line. I mean all employees, because classified employees, yes, their salary increase is not nearly as significant as the certified person. They need the same increase. And now to try to, I want to say something about what your question was. I feel like that the board needs, because some school districts do this, whatever it takes to make a plan for a 1% won't keep up with inflation. If this district is not giving more than 1%, they're losing ground. The teacher's losing ground, and I say teacher over and over. The employee is losing purchasing power every year. If it was written that we're going to give a 1% every year, cost of living 1.5%, retirees get 1.5%. That doesn't keep up either. My point was just what you hit upon. There should be, in my opinion, a plan to put a minimum of 1%. That should just be a given. That's no increase. That's cost of living, and you're losing ground at that. That's all I've got to say on salary.
And I'm sure it's tough, but I agree with you. I think it's something that we can evolve to and work on. Yeah. But I agree.
Is the salary schedules, is that in May, like when we revisit all of that?
Probably March.
March, a little early.
Okay.
A little bit earlier so that we
Okay.
can
Plan for
plan
the-
for the budget and staffing allocations.
So maybe before then, we can put a pin in it and just have, compare, I would be interested to know what we are compared to surrounding counties that are comparable to us. Obviously not a larger district, but,
Well, I think nowadays you have to do more than just surrounding counties. I mean, and about that, I mean.
And we already know.
Do you agree with that?
We already know that we're not the highest, we're not the lowest. If we said we're mediocre, my point was where we are today, there should be a plan for a 1% and then see if you can improve it.
Continue going up instead of backwards.
Just a guaranteed 1%.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Whatever it took to make that
To
happen.
my knowledge, that has never been a topic of discussion.
Absolutely.
That I can remember. I mean, Miss Jenny could, that's never been something that we have talked about to.
And with the availability of quality employees today, if that's not a priority, I don't know what would be.
And, and that's one thing as a board, Mr. Pointer touched on something saying that there is a segregation, whether we like to admit it or not. And Mr. Hammond touched, and by that I mean this. I don't know what teachers are going through. I'm not a classroom teacher. I had to ask Mr. Phillips what he meant by, that middle school concept and stuff like that, because I'm not in that building. I'm not aware. But make sure you understand, just because I may not be aware of what the classroom teacher does, it does not mean that I don't respect, because I want the very best for them. I want us as a board to be so supportive of them that when they're in that classroom, they have that assurance that, okay, they don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to have the money to pay their electric bill. So maybe we need to get the guy that saved us all the money to come up and send it back. Mr. Trent, have you got something in mind?
I need more rabbits in my house.
Yeah. But, did you have anything else, Mr. Hammond?
That's it.
All right. That's all I have. I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you, Mr. Cook. It's always good to see you. I wanted to voice one thing. One of your former students, I'm good friends with his mother, and I think he's getting ready to graduate from a welding institute.
KWI, up in Maysville.
Yeah, no, he's in Indiana or. No, he's not.
Ohio, perhaps?
Ohio, yes.
Hobart Institute?
Yes.
Okay.
And, just when I hear stuff like that, it just makes my heart swell. And I just want you to know that these kids are going out and they're becoming adults way too fast, it seems like. Mr. Hammond?
I'm sorry. Because the connection to somebody said that there was a connection to that. to the inquiry I had, and it's monetary as well. Inquiry about, and of course you can imagine people this time, financial issues, and maybe this was somebody with a financial issue, maybe not, talking about fundraisers, and you know, their displeasure with fundraisers, and you know, the imposition on families, and you know, and you know, fundraisers have been around a long time, but at the same time, managing district funds, maybe even in a new light. I mean, especially, you know, there have been lots of ways of spending ESSER dollars, and you know, during this time of COVID, if we could lighten the load on families, it would probably be appreciated. You know, if we as a district could attend to the needs of different groups, whether it be athletic, academic, yes, the whole shooting match, but fundraisers during this time probably could wear on people's last nerve too.
Sure. You know, since you said that, I did have one more thing. Ms. Carey can correct me in the proper wording of it. We have a group of young people that just recently qualified to go to a national competition.
Yes, in Oklahoma City.
And, wow. And I think that as a board, I had said something to you earlier today. I think as a board, you know, that we need to find ways that we can support them in such great accomplishment.
So that was our Rockcastle County High School land judging team, and they were second place in the state. So they qualified. The top 5 teams will be traveling to Oklahoma City in May.
In May. That's wonderful.
Yes, it is. And yes, I think that we should
We need to do something.
attend to that somewhat financially. And again, but we have these other activities all the time, and I think it's on a regular basis, and that's what wears folks out when they're dealing with COVID and stuff.
And stuff, things and stuff. Well, once again, thank you for coming. We appreciate everyone. Miss Connie, you're a regular now, and it's good to see your half face. I only get to see I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.